This is an accordion. It was sent to me by Dave, someone you might not know, but someone who knows I love tinkering with broken things. The accordion is a truly magical instrument. It's a portable, arm-powered reed organ with an onboard computer that lets you play 120 unique chords. And they've been around for a couple hundred years. Like I said, accordions are magic. But this one, well, recently it's been living through some decidedly non-magical times. When I first saw it, I asked myself, can you fix this thing? More importantly, should you even try? But before we get any further, let me explain the 5 very basic things an accordion needs to function. Number 1, at its most basic level, an accordion is just an airtight box. Of course, the people first making accordions found out that an airtight box isn't a very fun to play instrument, so they added 2, some holes to the top and bottom of the box. This is a good start, but the box still needs to be airtight, so you have to add 3, a way to seal up those holes and open them up when you want to. Through a system of levers, springs, and seals on the keyboard and button side of the accordion, you can push lots of buttons and open up holes on the box. When you let go of the buttons, the box becomes airtight again. Now, this is already a pretty nifty box, but it would be more fun if you could make the box get bigger and then smaller. So let's add 4, a bellows. When you open up any of the buttons and pull on either side of the box, air rushes into the holes in the box, expanding it. When you push the box closed, air rushes out and the box shrinks. This is almost a perfect instrument, except the only noise it makes is the gentle wheezing of air passing through the holes. So you have to add 5 things that make noise when air passes through them. In accordions, people often use metal reeds. Thin strips of metal of varying sizes and weights that make precise pitches when air passes through them. So they don't get in the way, place them inside the box. Simply arrange these reeds so they perfectly block the holes we put in the box earlier, and you've got an accordion. Oh, and there's one more thing your accordion shouldn't do. When you shake it, it absolutely should not sound like this. So, with those 5.5 things in mind, let's take a look at what's wrong with this accordion. The first step of taking apart any accordion is to carefully unwrap the electrical tape. You can reach out to your local utility company beforehand to inform them you'll be working on a high-voltage accordion. Just kidding, there's no electricity in there. All jokes aside, the electrical tape isn't a great sign that the bellows are going to be sealing very well, so that might be a problem later. But here's the big moment. And that's stunned silence you're hearing, unfortunately.
Wowie.
Yeah, say that again.
Things are not looking good in here. Wow. Sorry, I'm not doing a good job framing this all. Oh boy. So, we got a bunch of reeds everywhere. This one's bent. That's not ideal. As we can see, the reed block, it looks like 2 reed blocks got just totally destroyed.
For reference, this is what a reed block looks like when it hasn't been smashed into pieces. So these things floating around are called reed leathers. They're supposed to be attached on either side of the reed. They act as check valves so that whether you're pushing or pulling the accordion, it just plays one note.
So we'll have to go through all that. Some of them have fallen out of there. Those ones at least stayed in place. That's nice.
You can see where those holes are supposed to be sealed up and they're kind of wedged open. That's a big problem because if they're wedged open, the accordion can't seal properly.
We're gonna have to make a new reed block if the bass notes ever want to work again. Let me take these out. Here's all the reeds. There's some of the leathers. There's the busted up reed blocks, and also that. We also have a fun. This has a interesting locking mechanism. You can see right here. These things interface with these little latches right here. They're missing a little. They're supposed to look like that. They have this little thing there to latch onto, and so those are broken off. This is gross. Everything is really gross. You can kind of see there's a lot of. I don't know, I'm hoping metal. It's just metal corrosion and stuff. But yeah, these are the ones, the only 2 reeds that are really very obviously not working right. This one's bent, and this one is just kind of askew. I assume that'll turn back into place. But yeah, so I'm gonna count these really quick and see if we've got a full set of reeds at least. Okay, so by my count, 48, which is not enough. But if I'm not wrong, it's not enough by like a wide margin. 12 holes times 2 for each of the 2 reed blocks is 48. So that means the, 19 here that are just unaccounted for, are just missing. It's not great odds. This is kind of a biohazard as it is, so it's kind of hard to know whether or not to push forward. But you know, maybe we'll try.
So this may be a good time to talk about my aims with this accordion. Video really can't capture the musty smell, the dusty powder coating everything inside and out, the sticky texture of decomposing fabric. There are missing pieces, and almost every moving part is unable to move freely. So I could probably throw money at this to fix it, but that's really not my style. I love the jigsaw puzzle of the problem, and if I was going to attempt a repair, I wanted to buy as little as possible, reuse every piece I could, and try to get the instrument baseline functional again using just what came in the box. Now, as an amateur, I feel a pressure not to destroy a vintage instrument with my ineptitude. Thankfully, this instrument was sufficiently pre-destroyed that I wasn't too worried on that front. So I have done some reasonably extensive amateur repairs on accordions, but there's not a single system of this accordion that was even close to functional. So where was I even supposed to start? The answer was unclear to me. The biggest problem was the accordion's bass side. With the wooden support structure totally smashed and potentially upwards of 10 reeds missing, I wasn't playing with a full deck. I began by sorting out the reeds by their pitch to evaluate how many notes might be missing from the 2 sets of bass notes. If there were huge gaps, maybe this wasn't a worthwhile endeavor.
So I'm gonna try and pluck it. So it kind of looks like D sharp. Cool, so I'll put that. I've got this handy dandy little thing here, piece of paper with all the notes on it. So I'm gonna just put that under D sharp. Nice. I'm also gonna clean it with a toothbrush. So I'm gonna keep doing that for all of them, basically. F sharp. I think it's F sharp. F sharp sounds like this. Okay, so for this one side of the reed is sounding okay. You hear that? Happens to be D sharp. But this side... Alright, so I'm gonna try getting a little thing in here, and I'm gonna twist it slightly in between this little nut there. Just give it a little tweak, and then there you go. All of a sudden, sounds a lot better. Cool. D sharp. There we go. And then I'll show you what I'm doing for each of them that have corrosion on them. I'm just trying to scrape it off like that. I don't know if there's a better way to do this. Yeah, but that's what I'm doing. And then using a toothbrush to kind of get it. And then, you know, rinsing and repeating, basically, for every single one of these gross guys. Taking care not to scrape the actual vibrating reeds, because that would throw off the tuning, I believe. Gratifying and very slow work. Here's progress. So far.
Plucking, scraping, dusting, and sorting both sides of 48 reeds takes a while. Accordions have a ton of parts.
They are all sorted by what note they are. There's a disproportionate amount of F sharps, unfortunately. I don't know what the deal is there. There's 6 of them. So maybe they fell out of the piano key notes. But we'll figure it out. I'm gonna take a little break because this is annoying. So there's some good news. I took out these 3 reed blocks from right here, and as you can maybe tell, this one's not missing as many as I thought it was. 4 missing there, plus 4 missing there. There's 8 more than I thought there were. Plus I found another in that bellows. So things are looking better, looking up. We're missing 10 from this block. Let me recount how many are there. Okay, I count 49 now. So, unless I'm counting wrong, I think we're missing 9. Which I think is better than what I thought before. I think we're missing like 19 or something before is what I thought. So we're only missing 9. That's nice. Gonna see what's under here. Could be worse. It's Doesn't look super bad. Yeah, I think the keys are just all kind of stuck for whatever reason. Just kind of not sitting right, which is why some of these are stuck up, I think. I think those will just pop right down. Alright. That could have been a lot worse, I think. Okay, so I am taking out these because they've got a weird, like, bow in the middle, and also they don't work out. So I gotta see what's going on.
This is what the keys look like taken out. So yeah, just taking these guys apart was kind of a challenge. Sorry about my feet, they really make an appearance. Maybe I should start censoring them here. So some key points are they're all numbered, which is really nice. You'll be able to put them back together, hopefully. The only problem is I was really wondering whether I would ever be able to put these back together because they kind of come apart in a weird way. You know, you gotta nestle them all in there. I think I was losing some steam and losing hope that I would ever put this back together.
Here's what's new. All the keys are out. You can see here. This is supposed to, you know, turn that, make some stuff go in between there. But like a little metal sheet probably would, you know, slide back and forth. But it looks like it's just corroded in place. So we'll have to see if we can take that apart. Otherwise, I don't know, soak it in something. Here's why it was bowing out, why the keyboard was, because this isn't glued down, so I'll have to glue that, clean it out. There were some nice bugs in there, plenty of carpet beetles and stuff. But anyway, there's the pile of keys on the ground over there. I think I'll be able to put it back together. Coming right along, though.
So that was July 8th, 2023, and after that, I put all of the parts in a box and I let them sit for 2 years. The scope of the damage was just too much for me to grapple with. With so many areas of the accordion busted beyond repair, it was unclear where I could possibly begin. But 2 years later, I told myself, hey, enough agonizing, you just have to start slapping things together. So that's exactly what I did. First things first was trying to make sense of all of those wooden pieces. I took them out, sorted them, and tested out which pieces might go together. Luckily, there were some obvious corner pieces, so I started with them. And you can see that I matched up the longer pieces of wood with the wider strip of wood and the shorter pieces with the shorter strip. So this might all seem kind of obvious looking at it from this perspective, but for me, this was all new. I'd never seen one of these reed blocks taken apart like this. And so all the pieces, I don't know, seem a lot lighter than you expect them to be. So there's a little bit of guesswork, but ultimately it came together. I ended up missing a lot more of the smaller piece on the bottom there.
This one goes there. See, look at that finish on it.
There's nowhere near enough of those little slats for the smaller one, but there's the perfect amount on the bigger one. Anyway, here's a little sanding montage. So obviously this is all still pretty filthy, but I just wanted to clean it up a bit. It was never going to be perfect, but you know, the texture of it in person was kind of gross, so I wanted to clean it up a bit before I started gluing it. This stuff I'm scraping off is wax, and it's supposed to be there. Where the vibrating metal reeds meet the wooden block, melted wax is used to create the closed chambers that direct airflow to each of the individual notes. When I first learned that accordions used beeswax to create these airtight seals, I was totally baffled, and I still find it fascinating to this day. The wax that I'm scraping off is old and brittle, and that white stuff is like corroded metal from where the wax was interfacing with the reed plates. So it's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but this whole wooden block is set at an angle. So when it sits flat, it has a lean to it. I'm wondering if part of the reason has to do with reed geometry. So one side has lower notes, which need longer reeds to vibrate slower, make the lower noises, but the other side has duplicate notes, raised up an octave, which means that the reeds have to be smaller. And so if you have the wood block at an angle, one side is naturally going to be shorter, making it easier to fit the smaller reeds and cover up those holes. Maybe, or I could be totally off. Anyway, all of the pieces seem to be interchangeable, so I'm just going to glue them on indiscriminately, not in any order.
Not quite an even split.
It starts off a little bit slow, but it'll speed up pretty quick here. To compensate for that slowness, I've sped up the clips here. So I didn't clamp any of this stuff that I was gluing, and that's not because I think it's a better way to do it. It's just I don't have enough clamps to do this, and it would take a lot of time. So, you know, if it ends up causing problems, I'll add it. Maybe I'll address them all at the end in a sort of roundup of mistakes, if it ends up causing problems, that is.
Now we're going to do the other side of this one.
glued this up, as you can see. It's all holding in place there. It's got kind of a that-ward angle, so we gotta match that. Good enough. Now we'll let that dry. I'll give you a little close up here. It dried. Okay, so right now I'm thinking about, that one doesn't look super square, does it? That's funny. Anyway, I think I'm just gonna start gluing it, but I might try to prep this surface a little bit. So again, I'm gonna be abusing my chisels here. Be trying to scrape off some of this stuff. Be careful with chisels, guys. Really dangerous stuff, because if you just slam a sharp chisel into your leg or your hand or something. Fun. Now, I guess I'm gonna try and just glue this on here. Again, let's just go for this, I guess. I'm pretty sure it's gonna go. This side has a little notch matching this, so I'm assuming it's just gonna go like that. And I'll line it up there and try to have the line split the middle. And how could we possibly go wrong? Like a lot of the stuff in the middle, I probably shouldn't have glued that much because it's just gonna be going across a gap, but that's all right. Let's see. Okay, start lining it up a little bit. Let's take a look on that side. Yeah, that's really not too shabby at all. It's a new trick I just taught myself. Pull off the wood glue part of the Q-tip, just rip it off like that. Look, it's fresh again. Can suck up more glue. May end up doing some wax sealing too here. Well, that was a blast. That's gonna go back together like that. Can't believe that this came together at all. This side's got a notch too. Wow. What thoughtful folks. There was some piece that it was butting up against. And that's why this had to be shaved away in that manner. Little clues like this are so helpful, but they're also really fun when you're trying to put this back together and just piece together for yourself where things ought to go. Exhausting stuff. But boy howdy if it isn't worth it. That's when we see where it doesn't line up. If you'll take a look, there's some low points right here. Yeah, right there's the one. There's the gap, sorry. If I clamp it, it might sort of drive the pieces apart because it's at an angle, I wonder. You know what, what I'm gonna do, set it right there and carefully set a book on top of it, I think. I gotta make sure it's a book that makes me look smart. Here we are, the International Library of Music. Piano composition 3. I'll just place that right there. Delightful. If there's something smarter than classical music, I don't want to hear it. Just for a little extra weight, we'll put Zoo Tycoon, the complete collection, on top. It's dry now. You know, it's got some holes, but we'll wax that bridge when we come to it. Bit of a gap on some of these things. There comes a time in every young accordion repair person's life when they have to take stock of their reed leathers. When it happens to you, I just hope they're in a better state of repair than mine were. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 32. 32 doesn't seem like a great number. So I had 12 holes on either side. So 24 notes, I should have 48, and I said 36. 23. Come on. We got one more. We got one more, right? 24. Okay. None of those have a leather on them, but well, these things could all use a little scrape. But first thing is first, make a mess out of these leathers here using an iron. I don't recommend doing this, but so what I'm gonna try and do is get these flattened out. And this is probably not the right way to do this. Obviously, I would just, want to replace this whole set of leathers because they're probably all shot, but I'm assuming that all of these ones go on all of the big base reeds and reed blocks here. That's why I'm trying to prepare them all and why I'm trying to get that number, that 48 number. Those little green pieces of plastic are basically springs that hold the leathers in place, keep them from falling over and sagging over time, keeping them close to where they need to be. We're just seeing what it would take to get this back together without buying anything new. You can hear I'm making a lot of proactively self-critical comments about these leather pieces. That's because it's an area in which I really don't know what I'm doing. In accordion forums, people talk about how these leathers wear out over time, they get shot, and they just need to be replaced. So I assume that these leathers are in that camp, but I really don't know what the impact is if I don't replace them. Will the accordion make unpleasant whistling sounds or play double the notes? Will it waste precious air pressure because each note without leather takes twice the airflow? I really have no clue, so I'm doing what I imagine would help these valve leathers seal better, ironing them as flat as I can. Valve leather seal better, valve leather seal better, valve leather seal better, valve leather seal better. I also wonder if this makes the leather kind of contract at all if I really heat it up. Someone will tell me. Alright, let's see. Ooh, another red sealed one. I don't know if this is standard across all accordions or if it's just an old accordion thing, but it seems like only the bigger reeds have these red dots and plastic springs on them. So that's how I'm keeping track of which ones go to which. Probably I'm going to find out it's very bad to iron leather, but it's probably also bad to leave leather to rot in a corroded old accordion too. Look at that. Whether it's the right thing to do or not, I don't know, but boy, that calms me down, seeing them all laid out and flat. You're probably not getting a lot of the perspective of them, but wow, they were really not flat before. This was one of the things I really was not looking forward to doing. Just because there's so much fiddly stuff that's got to happen here. Got to figure out, sort all these leathers, find out what reeds they go to, clean up the reeds, glue 2 leathers onto each reed block, or sorry, not reed block, reed plate, I guess is what they call this metal housing, and the vibrating part's the reed. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm actually going to do one more job with this clothes iron here, which is take it to some of these existing reed blocks. Oh wow, what the heck's going on in there? I haven't seen this quite. There's sort of a situation going on inside there. Kind of like maybe wax, I guess, spilled in there. Is that just a common thing? It's interesting that it looks like that. I'm not sure why. So I'm just gonna try and press these guys down. Get them to stay in place a little bit. At least some of the worst offenders, you know. Ooh, did that shrink up? Well, let's just take a look and see if they... This feels like they barely cover already, so I don't think I'm shrinking them. This accordion probably wouldn't be here without the help of cows, bees, and trees, so I wanted to take a second to thank all of those guys. Let's see if we're shrinking this. That one seems like it's pretty flush with the base of that hole. And then I press it for a little bit there. And it kind of does look like it shrank a little bit, huh? As you can see, I abandoned all pretense of protecting the leather with that cloth and just decided to put the iron directly onto these strips of leather. Come and get me. One of the next steps is dressing up all of these reeds best as you can, attaching the leathers to them, sorting them out. There's a billion steps. This is too much to do, but just one step at a time. That's how you do it, I guess. One step at a time. That one's a little stuck there, huh? I could show you here.
below the old, below the surface there, so maybe see if there's just something wedged in there, or if there's something else going on. I'll push it out from the other side, probably here. Maybe I'll push it in, see if that does it. Yeah, it breaks it free. A little bit gunked up there. Push it down. Some gunk kind of in the channel there, some corrosion that's making it not really want to not like move freely, that is. Let's see if we pluck that, how it sounds. Oh, a lot better, much better.
So I have the wooden reed block where these are going to go. Now I just have to figure out which one of these reeds goes in which spot in the reed block. It's really important that I get that right. Otherwise, I'll play a note on the accordion and it won't be playing the right note.
Let's organize them. Guys that have the little bumps and guys that don't have the little bumps. So what I'm trying to do, these things play in pairs, right? So you'll open up, pressing the C button right there, and it opens up that. So that's 4 holes, 4 sets of reeds that are allowed to play. Essentially, they're all C. So the question is going through and finding which ones are pairs of C. I'm gonna arrange these by size, I think, of their little weight, and assume that that's corresponds roughly to their pitch. So those are all in order. Now we just got to do the these guys. I'm putting over there because they've got, I think they got little bumps. This one's got a bump of extra weight, so that means it's going to be a deeper note because it's oscillating slower, I guess. Is that good? Let's test those out. I don't know if you can hear any of this. Cool. So those should be in order from lowest to highest. So if all of my other guesses are right, that means that these guys should be pairs, little octave pairs. Let's test the lowest ones. That'll be easiest to hear, I think. Boom, boom. Those sound pretty similar to me. Pretty sure these are all paired up with their pals there. That means leathers, as many of them as we have set up, I'm gonna start gluing them. I might leave some off because we don't have like all the right sizes of them. I will leave the ones on that are facing the inside one. I'll put the leathers on those ones. I'm wondering like how airtight this is. Right into this one.
Because of where that's located, I'm not actually sure that it matters that there's a hole, since when the button's pressed, the 2 chambers are connected anyway.
Clap. These are gonna have leathers on them soon. There you go. I only glued 1 reed shut. Oh, I have the fan. There's the big mistake of the hour. It's the first one I did. I recommend putting the glue on the leather and then placing it on the thing. I don't know how much I want to let it dry before I start trying to free it. Anyway, we'll hear how it sounds in a minute. I don't know why I'm even talking with the fan on. That's just the tops, obviously, but I'm using this stuff. Oh, yeah, look at that. So there we go, we're missing 14 of those. Okay, I think I'm ready to put this in here, put all the reeds in there. Despite the fact that some of them are missing their leathers, reeds that need leathers will be accessible. But I gotta figure out which side goes on which side of this. So it clocks into the accordion like that. This, I should say. And this side, to actuate those notes, I press this button. And so this goes up by fifths, so it goes C to G to D. So that's D. So I just have to figure out if this one's D or if that one's D, and then I can put it all in place. Let's figure out what the left one is too. Okay, so this one's the left one. And if we go down, that's C to F, B flat, E flat. I don't know why that one comes to me easier. So E flat, same thing as D sharp. Now we just use our perfect pitch and figure out if this is D. And then you listen to that and tell me, is that more of a D or an E flat? I don't really know. I'm gonna go take it over to the piano though. I think these are the E flat ones. I don't really know, but let's double check it and see if this sounds like a D. Wow, I got no clue. I figured it out. It took me a second, like no time at all. So obviously these aren't supposed to go in. They aren't supposed to go into this reed block in order, like in a scale, because just like when you press the buttons, they don't open up in a scale, right? So it should go. I'll get a piece of paper, then I can diagram it out. Okay, so 12 notes. We'll go. One. This is the button side. So we know full right one is D, 12 is D. The other one is E flat. Fill in some other ones here. Fifth one over is G. C is third from the right. Next up we have B. These are hard to keep track of. You just kind of build a little mental map in your head. Yeah, so it's B. Fourth from the right. B. Second from the right. F sharp. These things are really getting stuck a lot, unfortunately. So this is A. Sixth from the right. After that is E, and that's second from the left, so it goes E flat, E. Third is F. Ooh, wait, this is not looking good for me. No, it's looking okay, except for this one. F sharp, is that right? I made a mistake. F sharp is this one, it's fourth from the left. Makes sense. C sharp. Okay, so it is just gonna be A sharp. We're gonna do G sharp. We just know that these are descending, but we don't know, like, so this could be any note. I want to find out definitively what one of these is. It's probably not E, but maybe it is. I don't know. Okay, I went to the piano, I did the plucking thing. Maybe it sounds like B flat, which of course is the same thing as A sharp. So that would imply that it goes there. The second one, so that was B flat. Then the next one would be one sharp of B flat, so it would be C. I'm gonna go quickly. B flat should be B. I'm being silly on camera again. This is A. It sounded like A over there, and that's what it is. So that means we have these reversed. This is B flat. This is A. Going down, one down from B flat to go there. So one up from B flat would be B. So this is B. B flat. I'm sorry, I'm mixing flats and sharps here. I'll really just change that to, I'll change them to A sharp. A sharp there. B, A sharp, A, G flat. That's wrong. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so out of it. A flat, which is G sharp. Ay. So we're just going one flat from each of these. So this is gonna be F sharp, F, E flat, or we don't have an E flat on there. We do have E flat for some reason. Then D, C sharp. Is that what we have it? Sharp, and then C. So this one should be C. Catch the pitch of it. And yes, that is C. Okay. Beautiful. So that means we just have to rearrange these. This is the order that they're in. This is the order that they gotta be in. Let's rearrange them around C, shall we? C's right here. It needs to be third from...
So I was really muddling through this process, but I hope it still comes across what I was trying to do. So first, I organized the notes by their relative pitch. So I didn't identify like which exact note the reeds were playing. Then I figured out which notes needed to go with which buttons. And so I made the incorrect assumption that the order I had the reeds in was how they would be in the accordion, when in fact I had them in reverse order, ascending instead of descending. And I also needed to just split the scale at a different point than I had.
So this one should be E flat. I think it sounds like E flat. That means start putting these in. I don't know if it really matters which side you put in which one. If you'll see there, the one towards the center gets more air. It angles down like that. I don't know if you can see if I press one like that, it angles towards the middle. So maybe the one that needs the most airflow would be the one facing the middle. I think the one that needs more airflow would be the heavier ones. Yeah, I'm standing by that. If we put this in here, that means we're gonna put the heavy ones on this side. I'm gonna heat up the soldering iron and then we'll melt some wax. We've got D written right there, E flat written right there, bass ear, treble ear. Soldering iron heating up here. So first things first, there's a couple of spots where I didn't glue it all that good, and I'm gonna patch those up with a little bit of wax here.
They make a tool for this job called a wax spoon, but this is the setup I'm using. It's a surprisingly delicate task, and it's really easy to get wax where you don't want it to be. Also, wax is kind of a non-permanent glue, so I probably shouldn't be using it to make the reed block airtight, because I just, why would I want that to be impermanent? But, oh well.
Gaps in this one here. And in this corner. So I'm gonna start just lining these up here, I think, and then this gap right here is a little bit tight. Look, it's a little kind of wants to fall in a little bit there. I'm gonna get a little something to put under there, heat proof, but that also makes me look cool. Staple gun, that's kind of cool.
Watching this back is a little agonizing. Towards the end of this, I got a lot better at the whole process of waxing in reeds, but I guess that's just kind of how building a skill goes.
I forgot how rough this is.
Anytime there's a big gap that needs to be filled between the reeds, the wax wants to draw into the hole and not actually fill it. So one way I dealt with that was going in small bursts, adding wax, waiting for it to dry, and then adding more, which sometimes worked. Later on I try another technique. We'll see how that goes when I get to it.
Let's keep on trucking, and then hopefully this gets a little bit easier. I'm sort of just tacking those guys in place for now. Imagining that things will get a little bit easier as we go along. I sort of messed up that first one a little bit because I'm realizing you want to have them right next to each other before you start waxing them, because otherwise the wax is gonna sit on this little cross piece and make it so the next one won't sit flush. That means they're all sort of in. Let me show you what I've been doing here. Not wonderful. Some of those look really bad. Look at this one. Huge gap there. How did that happen? I guess that's the one that I built up before I laid the next one in place. Flash, there's also some natural highs and lows in the wood. We got some wax when we were starting out. Did a little spillage there, so we'll have to go and clean that up. Let's seal it all up. thin really is nice on this. Not exactly pretty, is it? The worst part is this thing right here. That won't go. So I gotta clean that. So it'll play. And let's take a look down inside some of these if we can. We got some wax buildup kind of in the corners here.
So a lot of this doesn't look very good. I think it'll still play, but yeah, some of those gaps are kind of unforgivable.
Okay, let's see if I've learned anything from doing one side. Calling it good for it. Wow, that's so much heavier. Obviously it's got the metal, huh? But also the wax. It's quite sticky. A lot of wax coming out of that one. I'll have to check if any of them don't play anymore. That was an adventure.
So this is a view of inside the reed block. You can see where the wax has melted and gone through those gaps and kind of collected on the inside, which is not where you want it, especially if it ends up causing the leathers or the reeds to stick. So I'm investigating that and seeing if maybe there's too much wax, so I got to redo some of these, clean them out. I don't know if it rises quite to it. Also, you can see here, just from the top, I put too much wax on here and kind of overspilled onto the reed. That causes problems, makes it essentially so the reed won't play any noise, so you get to watch me cleaning up the mess a little bit there. In the case like that, where it's just on the top of the reed, it's probably just going to change the note. So it's not going to prevent it from playing, but yeah. You be the judge. I don't know if you can really tell, but some of these reeds are hard to pull up and hard to work on. It's hard to get the reed bent up from flush to actually work on it and scrape off that wax.
Ooh, that sounds bad. It might be sealed up, I guess, because of the wax on that. I have to pull that one. Too much wax on the internal leather there. Let's try and pull it out like that. Weird. Okay, I do think we're hitting this top side maybe. It doesn't have anything to do with the wax. Let me get it. So I'm gonna do something like a little bit of that action. I did too much. I think I might have. Reed looks a little bent too. Oh, that one looks bent too. Maybe they're all bent.
I'm actuating this by hand to see if I can feel where it's scraping the side of the wall and if maybe there's a spot I need to file down.
Hey, look at that. Cool. Works for me. Scrape that guy out of there a little bit. Let's pluck all these well. Oh man, I'm listening to Carlito's Way right now, and I don't think that this Sean Penn character, I think he's kind of gone down a bad road.
All right, here I am putting that reed back in place. It's kind of a nice shot of wax melting and seeing how much wax actually goes into these reeds.
Gotta clean this one up here. Big moment here. This should be, I think, the first time this has been together for quite some time. That's kind of fun. Definitely as long as I've had it. It seems like it was maybe someone's project that they were working on, based on, you know, how we got it. Next up, we gotta block this off because I'm not confident. This is the state of the other reed block. Just going like that.
And the reason that I'm not trying to put this back together is that is where all of the missing reeds came from for some reason. They're all on the higher end of that base reed block. Also, a lot of the wood pieces are missing from it.
I'm a little overeager, so I want to see what it takes to get this to start playing. So maybe I'll cut like a piece of cardboard and tape that down or something.
Okay, so next up, I'm taking a look at these reed blocks, the ones that were intact in the top part of the accordion. A lot of the wax is pretty brittle and some of them have started to fall out. So we're going to have to take a look at the entire state of it all, and I'm kind of waffling about whether or not I should take this all apart and re-wax the whole thing. Some part of me is like, it's kind of holding together, so maybe I shouldn't, but ultimately I'm of the opinion that I gotta just bite the bullet and take everything off.
I think I maybe mislabeled some of these red ones. Sorry, this is this block that I'm talking about.
So there's 3 different sets of these reed blocks. This one was the most intact. It was missing the least pieces, so I'm pretty sure I could just, you know, wax them in place. So it's the first one that I'm gonna do.
These ones need to get put in place, and this one needs a new leather.
You can see the wax is just crumbling, so I decided, yeah, it's probably a good idea to just take it off. If you don't take off these reeds, they'll be rattly. You might be able to make sound out of them, but ultimately some air is going to get through. It's not going to sound good, and they're probably going to fall out pretty quick eventually. So this is a definite replace if yours looks like this. Also, it's very, very satisfying to scrape off this old wax. It was a lot easier to get these aligned for waxing. That's probably because I didn't rebuild the whole wood structure for it. It was, you know, perfectly set up for these reeds, so it went well.
Well, I think that I have them in backwards order, so.
As you can see, there's a pretty big gap right there.
Huge gap. Look at that big gap that you gotta fill.
And so I'm going to break out my new trick, which is squishing on a piece of dry wax to kind of block up the hole before it's waxed in place. I had marked all of these reeds with Sharpie to like keep track of which set they were from in case they fell apart. That's that side of the reed block done. Now I have to do the other one.
Nice. Pull that up for sure. Yeah, there's that one.
I caused that problem.
Oops. All wrong. Oops.
But you can see here I decided, yeah, it's just time to take this all apart. Off screen, I'm keeping these well organized so they're not getting out of order. That said, these are also kind of in descending size order, so they're pretty easy to keep track of. Also, I can just pluck them if I need to identify which one goes where. When this process goes well, it's very satisfying. When it doesn't go well, it's a little frustrating.
Alright, now let's do this block here.
Oh, I guess for these ones, I'm testing out if I could just add some wax to the reed, since they were sort of being held in place. The wax was less crackly. I thought maybe I'd just refresh it. I don't know if that's the best thing to do or not. We can check back in a year and see if they've all fallen apart or something.
I think this one we got to do a little bit of detective work figuring out which pieces are missing. So maybe we pause for now. Nice work, we did that one. Cool.
So when I was first trying to figure out which reed went with which block, I did some kind of guesswork of which ones seemed like they fit, which is easier to do with these blocks that are together because, I don't know, sometimes there's residue of wax and you can kind of match it up and see where a piece likely went. It's not a foolproof system, unfortunately, as we'll maybe discover, but let's enjoy this wax in the meantime. So you can see I kind of tack these things in place, then work down, seal them all the way up.
Not so shabby, okay. Alright, now we just have to figure out what these notes are. As memory serves, this is F sharp. These two are also F sharp, so I'm not sure if I have all the right notes or not. That is, if I trust my markings from previously. I think we might trust them. So we probably go 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's the fun. Oh man, that's the one I was telling you about. One there's a fun surprise in. But sorry, there you go. There was a spider living in there. Let's take this apart and see if he's still around. Wow, it's a very tough nest. My goodness. Wow, like the sticky It's quite a sticky thing. Anyway, that wouldn't be plain, so that's nice that we had to take that one apart anyway. The web was strong enough that it pulled off the leather too. The things you find when you're taking apart an accordion. We're looking good, except for some obvious places where we don't look good. But good enough for me for now. And then that's 2 of these piano key reed blocks done. 1 more to go. That's this one, which is missing 3. We just have to figure out which ones they are. Okay, so let me show you how I'm trying to figure out what some of these missing keys are. So right now, this right here, you can barely tell, but it's supposed to be an A. That's supposed to be an A, so it sounds like this. A. So I want one that's like that, but I think, like, and also an A, but it should be deeper, an octave lower. So we're looking for that note. I'm gonna pluck a few. That's not it. I had one marked, which was this red one, but it's the exact same note. Compared to, I think it's the same note. I think it's not even like a difference in octave. So I found out why I'm missing some reeds. Initially I had this as written down as an F. It's supposed to be G. I double checked with pressing the G key over here, and look at that. It corresponds to this block, and that one should be G, not F. So I was going through and testing these, and one of them was already G, the other one's F. Anyway, so this is A sharp / B flat. So gonna double check that these notes that I have written on here are correct. Passed me, thanks a lot. Okay, everything's labeled, no big mistakes. I did have this mislabeled as I think it had it as an A. Gonna have to pull off a couple of these because they were wrong. Those clearly aren't an octave. Ugh, I don't know if any of this is gonna be interesting. I'm gonna go test these and start pulling some off. So these 2 gotta come off. This one is actually F. This one I think is just regular A. I should double check that one, but anyway, get to take those off, which is nice. So now we just gotta go around and find where my B flat and my G really are. No, that's not it. I think those sound like they could be twins. Those sound like octaves. Yeah, maybe. Let's go check it. That's B flat. That's B flat. All right, that's B flat, yeah. / A sharp. Cool. Now G. That sounds like G, or it matches the other one anyway, enough. Okay, but there's our G. Okay, this block is done, again. For real this time. Now I have to, hopefully I have all the right notes for this block. So 3 more, and then we're gonna call it. I'll try to block this one off. I think we're just missing this F for now. Throw some leather on this one, we'll be good to go. Sorry about the fan.
I don't know if you've seen me actually put on the reed leathers, but this is the process. So I kind of put it on, put a little dab of glue onto the leather, and then using the back of a paintbrush, kind of roll the leather onto the reed itself.
This guy's still missing. Unclear if we'll ever find him. I gotta find something to wax this up. Let me go find like a piece of wood or something that I can cover that up with. Okay, I decided to use some just a little cardstock. It's not sponsored, but I'll take this little spot right there. I don't know if it's a bad idea or not, using paper, you know. Might flex a little bit here and there. Good to go. Boy, we're gonna have to cut off some of this good to go part. That's rough. Sorry.
So since I was missing this reed, I had to put something in its place so that when you press the note, there wasn't just a huge air leak. Otherwise, every time you press the key, it would leak a ton of air and you wouldn't really be able to play music. The notes play in pairs, so there will be at least one note playing. For this project, at this point in time, that's good enough.
Sort of, anyway. So I figure if we cover up one, at least we'll be able to play the note. That makes it so that we have 4 functional reed blocks.
And they're all happy. Some of them happier than others, but everything's been reflowed or put new wax on them. I did some of it off camera because I was a little bit, what's the word? Frustrated. But these are looking okay to me. Good time for a trench run, I feel like. Okay, that's the end of this video. I think we'll have 2 more parts, and then we'll finally, in the next video, we're definitely gonna hear the accordion make some noise. So you have that to look forward to. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate all your time. And thanks for bearing with me on this very, very long project. It's really been a lot of work, but it's been super rewarding, super exciting. And yeah, see you around.